So thank you again, Professor McDonald, for agreeing to this interview. We're honored and humbled in speaking to you about very urgent matters regarding marketing. So to start, I'd like to ask you an ice-breaking question. You've built an astonishing career in marketing, a brilliant academic curriculum. Can you remember the first time you had your first professional epiphany? The first time you realized you wanted to work in marketing? What drove and spurred you to pursue this type of career?
Well, Adele, when I left Oxford University many, many years ago with my lovely, shiny new degree in English language and literature, I couldn't afford to go into teaching, so I joined industry. And after a year of a management trainee, as a management trainee, I became a salesman in London, and I was appalled at the waste. We all sold the products we found easiest to sell to the customers who treated us nicest, and then that went into a database, and some half-wit extrapolated it and called it a plan. And all we were doing was extrapolating our own inefficiency and stupidity. Now, that wasn't all, of course, but I didn't realize at the time it was called marketing. But I just knew there had to be a better way of running a company. And that's what got me interested in marketing.
Perfect. The reason I asked you this personal question is because I'm wondering if what this thing that moved you then still exists today. Do you think new Malcolm McDonalds, Philip Kotlers, and Michael Porters are being born today? Who or what will further the legacy of marketing in the coming future? And excuse me, may I please ask both Pietro and Giorgio if they can mute their microphones so we have a better audio. Thank you.
Well, first of all, yes, we've still got the same problems today. I mean, if you just take our professional marketing body, well, 60 or 70 years ago, someone with half a brain decided to separate sales from marketing, even though expenditure on sales is 5 times what it is on marketing. So consequently, what we mainly see in the world out there is the sales tail wagging the marketing dog. I mean, the mix of what is sold and to whom, and the mix of customers should be decided as part of the marketing strategy and implemented by the sales force. And it's not, it's the other way around. Now, who are the new Philip Kotlers? Well, I've got strong views on this. They're not likely to come from the business schools the way they did in the past, because I think business schools have in the main lost the plot. I'll say more about this later, but I think they'll come from the likes of McKinsey, IBM, and so on with their fantastic research centers. And of course, people like me are still working very, very hard to get marketing back in the boardroom. I'll say something about that as well later on.
Okay. In terms of teaching, what do you think will be expected of marketing teachers tomorrow?
Oh, exactly what excellent marketing teachers have always done over the past 50 years. And that's underpinning scholarly research with a sound knowledge of practice. Alas, most of today's youngsters, they do a BA or Bachelor of Arts, a BSc, a Bachelor of Science. Then they go on and they do a Master of Arts or an MSc or an MBA. Then they go on and they do a PhD. And then they become lecturers whose careers depend entirely on publications, not on teaching. So these people can't teach, and in any case, they don't get rewarded or promoted for teaching. So most business schools today, apart from the very top ones like Harvard, Cranfield, INSEAD and the like, they've become largely irrelevant to the world of practice. And I'm afraid that's the world we live in.
Right. Which shifts have you witnessed in terms of marketing culture within companies?
Now that's an interesting one. I've seen massive changes during my career. I mean, the biggest change happened in the 80s and 90s with the advent of what the Nordic school called relationship marketing. What they said, the Nordic school, they said, customers don't belong to the marketing people. They belong to everyone in the company. Everyone in the company said, oh yes, of course, that makes a lot of sense. Consequently, marketers got pushed away from what was called strategy in those days, and they became promotional people. Then, of course, about 15 years ago or so, we had digital came along and social media. And everyone said, oh, that's also marketing as well. So they got pushed further and further away from the boardroom. Now, I came across a McKinsey report all on Sunday of this week. And what it's confirmed, a massive survey, it hasn't hit the market yet, but it will do soon. They've confirmed that there are very, very few marketers in boardrooms today. So that is the problem that we've got. Now we've got another problem coming along, because not only have we got digital, but we've got people like chief digital officers, chief information officers, chief data officers, and so on. And they're beginning to take even that away from the marketing community. So my mission in life is to get marketing back into the boardroom where it belongs.
Beautiful. And how has digital changed the way marketers approach both planning and segmentation?
Well, of course, I've touched on this already, but I mean, the truth is, Adele, we don't do planning properly. We don't do segmentation anymore. I mean, a Harvard Business Review article said that recently 30,000 new products launched in America, 90% of them fail because of lack of market segmentation. Now, we have, I mean, my view is very strong. I think the greatest threat to marketing is not being out of touch with technology developments, but failing to understand our markets, the basic needs of customers, and the fundamental business drivers that have always caused long-term success. But for our best marketing leaders, Adele, in companies like 3M, General Electric, Unilever, and the like, the world has changed forever for the good. We've got fabulous data that enables us to know our markets and our customers even better. So we're very lucky today, providing we take advantage of the new wave technology.
Right. And exactly how have digital technologies and tools helped CMOs and CFOs in building data-driven strategies and operations?
Well, we're very lucky, as I just said. We've got, just to name a few, things like blockchain, virtual reality, artificial intelligence, we've got predictive analytics, we've got voice biometrics, we've got big data and the like. And, what the best companies are doing, they're embracing them and they're understanding them. But much more importantly, they're using these technologies to help create value for customers. These are the ones who haven't lost the understanding of markets and customers. They're the ones who never, ever lost sight of markets and customers. So we live in a very, very happy world today of technology, which is helping us to create value for customers.
Great. In fact, companies have competed on price, availability, quality, features, and benefits for so long. What do you think they will compete on more and more in the coming future?
Well, I'm a very lucky man, Adele. I mean, last week, for example, I was a keynote speaker at 3 conferences in London, and you get about 1,000 people at a time. Frequently, you have an audience response system, and I ask them silly questions like this: how many of you have got excellent products? And guess what? 100% say yes. Then I say, how many of you got products that aren't excellent? Guess what? Nobody. So the point I make is that today, in 2019, all products are excellent. So you're not going to get any differential advantage from your products because technology enables us to catch up very quickly. So the difference is it's the way we relate to our customers, and it's called all sorts of things, but certainly in Britain and America, it's called customer experience. I call it organizational value co-creation. But that's the way you're going to be different, by relating more personally to your customers. But, there is a sad statistic. That is that less than 2% of companies, certainly in Britain, I've done the research, less than 2% of companies in Britain have got financially quantified value propositions. That's why so many of them trade on price. So, the race is on, aided by technology, to create advantage for our customers, and we've got fantastic opportunities today.
Perfect. And how can a company market itself in a hyper-competitive landscape where the definition of who's in the competition shifts monthly, weekly, sometimes even daily?
Well, I'm sorry to witter on about this, Adele, but it's going back to basics and understanding our market and our customers. I mean, no one asked Apple to invent iPods and iPads and iPhones and easy music downloads. They just set off to make our lives better and more enjoyable. I mean, nobody asked Uber to do what they did, or Airbnb. Nobody asked Amazon to do what they did. It's just that companies, big companies in particular, with their legacy systems and bureaucracy, they've got lazy and they're not really geared up to deal with these existential challenges that come along. So, if you're doing today what you did yesterday, you're not going to be in business tomorrow. That's the point. It's all about change. And that means you've got to be aware of what's going on. That's the only problem that we've got, companies that are lazy and bureaucratic.
Right. In the past, you've underlined how resource sustainability and wealth distribution will be key components that governments need to tackle and evolve in the next 50 years. What role should companies assume in these regards?
Well, I don't care whether you call it corporate social responsibility or some other name, but the circular economy is certainly with us now and has been for some years. And the best companies in the world, they don't add on corporate social responsibility as an afterthought. It's an integral part of everything they do. And we've got so many studies to show that embracing corporate social responsibility and sustainability, it pays dividends. I mean, for example, Paul Polman of Unilever, he got rid of quarterly reporting, he got rid of silly budgeting, and he set tough sustainability targets. And that has crippled the value of Unilever over the past 10 years. So we know it works. And think about it, sustainable resources like land and forests and water and minerals, by 2050, we're going to consume 3 planets worth. So the take, make, waste model is finished. I mean, economic development and resource scarcity are on a collision course, and governments are going to have to deal with it. I mean, just take personal wealth. The top 50 earners own more wealth than 50% of the world's population. I mean, it can't go on like that. So we are going to have to rely on governments and proper, decent people and people in organizations to sort this mess out, because we can't go on the way we are.
Right. Thank you so much, Professor McDonald.